Hi there. This is Raquel Dubois from Embodied Presence Training, and I've had a couple of questions about my expansion training program, which is my 9-week course. What I wanted to do was actually just give you a little insight into what getting more space in your nervous system might actually bring you, and why it's really important. Which is the focus of the expansion training, right? So a lot of people, you know, think about expansion as focusing straight on expansion. A lot of teachers teach expansion from a perspective of visualizing expansion. But what we actually know is from a nervous system perspective is that we can't possibly expand until we actually have enough space in our nervous system to be able to allow the body to expand naturally, which is exactly what it does when it's given enough space to do that. Okay, so we don't actually need to force expansion, to visualize expansion, to demand expansion. All those things are actually doing violence to our bodies and to our energy systems. So we actually want to facilitate an experience where we actually get to experience space. Because it's through feeling space in our nervous system that our nervous system can feel safe, it can relax, it can let down, and then it will do what it is naturally designed to do, and that is to expand. So, you know, just for a moment there, I kind of dropped into the potentiality of all of that. And, you know, then up kind of arises from me this real desire to facilitate some kind of opportunity for you to touch into what it might feel like. And I probably can't really do that in any great way today. It's sort of something that happens a lot more easily when we're actually our nervous systems are more attuned to each other, so that we actually get to really feel and sense into each other's nervous system through actually just attuning more deeply into our own. And so perhaps that is the invitation that I can facilitate for you today. Whilst expansion may not be immediately possible, anything is possible when we slow down enough and tune in and just feel ourselves. And we do that by noticing. So the most important part about nervous system work is about tracking and noticing. There's a lot of other elements, but if we slow down and we actually just notice what's going on, we've actually kind of probably solved half of the dilemma at least. So my invitation to you right now is to just take a moment and notice your breath. And if you can't notice your breath so easily right in this moment, the easiest thing you can possibly do is to notice what is giving you support in this moment. So how are you sitting? What are you sitting on? And can you feel the feedback from what you're sitting on, you know, saying hello to your body? And then maybe you can also notice how your body is saying hello to it. So whether you're on the floor, on a mattress, on a chair, on the couch, on the ground, in a pool, on water, all of those things, there is actually a bi-directional exchange happening between your body and the thing right in this moment. And if you slow down for just a moment and pay attention to first one of those directions of exchange, so sometimes it's easier to notice first the body making connection outwards. But maybe it's easier for you to notice the object, the element connecting to your body. And so if we slow down enough and feel that in our seat, and then we feel that in our feet, and then we might actually be able to notice our breath as well. And so in doing this, we're actually creating an opportunity to create space in our nervous systems. Now, at the heart of being an entrepreneur, a heart-centered entrepreneur, especially a healer, we actually need enough space to be able to hold space for our clients. That's actually the epicenter of what we do, is we're actually holding space for our clients, for their transformation. And we can't hold space unless we are actually connected to an experience of space, consciously or unconsciously, in our own bodies. We're limited, we're greatly limited at least, so we can probably hold some space, but we're enormously limited if we don't actually have an experience of space in our own bodies. So the more space we can create inside ourselves and inside our nervous system, that means the bigger space we can hold for our clients. And that means our clients have a greater opportunity to transform and to change. So the heart of it is about space. And then what our nervous systems do inside that space. Because it creates the safety, and because it creates all of those things that we're actually, permission, acceptance, appreciation, gratitude. Space actually is the facilitator of all these things. And when we're able to connect into our space, we have so many more possibilities for healing and particularly for expansion. So the other idea is that in order to be able to create space in our system is that we need to actually be able to address some of the traumas in our system. And more the kinds of clients that I'm seeing are actually reporting, understanding, having some sense of that there's a whole heap of stuff stuck in their system that they're not even consciously aware of. They know it's something there that's holding them back from being able to hold the space that they want to hold, to be able to hold more clients and to be able to hold the transformation for their clients. So, and hold any possibilities for expansion for themselves. So they need the space to do that. And they know that there's some traumas in the way, taking up room in the nervous system. Now, often those traumas are intergenerational traumas. So they are epigenetic, they can be passed through the epigenetic line, but they're not always just epigenetic, but it is intergenerational. There's multi-factors how intergenerational trauma is passed through. And some people choose to work with ancestral energies in order to help transform that. I also work with the nervous system of the ancestors. I think that's a really, really helpful and useful way of tapping into the trauma, tapping into releasing the trauma that's caught up in the nervous system, in the whole familial system of the nervous system. So we also have, societal trauma and various other things that are creating traumas. We're in nervous systems where there's some trauma. And all those things are filling up the space in our nervous systems. And I just want to show you this, because before I finish, this is a little bit of a visual that I find really helpful sometimes. I've put some water in this glass. And if you imagine this glass is your nervous system, you might look at that water line and think there's probably a fair amount of room in that glass, so that, you know, if I need to add something else, like, you know, a hospital run, or going to the supermarket or whatever, I can do that. Even if I take on another client, I can do that, right? That's what it looks like. It's fine, no problem. I can say yes to my partner and yes to one more client. There's space. But if you take into account that this is your autonomic nervous system, which means that it's a nervous system which has a lot of involuntary processes, like your respiratory system, your digestive system, your elimination system. All of these things are not consciously controlled by your mind. They are operated by your nervous system, and your nervous system needs the space to be able to help you to breathe, help you to your heart to beat, help you to eliminate, help you to digest, help you to actually have sexual function. All these sorts of things are organized by your nervous system on an unconscious level. It needs space to be able to do those basic functions. So it is already taking up some of that room in this vessel. So some of that water, some of that liquid is those autonomic involuntary functions. So it's not all the stuff that you put in your day. So if you put any more in your day, you're going to start to really fill that glass. But what I want to really point out to you is, see the waterline, see the bottom of the glass. When it starts to move, which is what it has to do in order for us to be able to mobilize the energetic charge to be able to do our day, even if it is just simply getting up off the chair, that is a mobilization energy. And when we need to do that, this whole system will move, right? So it just moves. Oops. And look how far, like it can go, it'll just spill over just simply by moving. So you have to have a certain amount of control there, which of course it's not all consciously controlled. But you'd have to have a certain amount of control over the things that are consciously controlled and not the things that are unconsciously controlled, in order to be able to not spill that liquid out of the glass. So what that results in is a lot of tension, a lot of contraction, a lot of tightness in the body and in the nervous system. And when you have tension, tightness, and contraction in the nervous system, no matter how much you visualize, no matter how much you will, no matter how much you meditate, no matter how much you do all those things and pray that you will expand, you cannot. You have to create the space first. And working with the nervous system is the way to do that, because, you know, you've seen those pictures of the iceberg and the, you know, conscious and the subconscious. The conscious stuff, which is the mind stuff or the doing stuff that we agree to, all those tasks and things like that, that only represents this tiny little amount. And whatever we do is only ever going to scratch the surface unless we actually come down into the nervous system and focus on slowly and safely creating space in the nervous system so that we can actually expand. So that's all I want to talk about for today. I am being really tempted to talk about the importance of space for empaths, and I'll probably do that later this week, because there's a particular demand on empaths for space, and I'd like to talk about that at some point. I'm going to try and actually do a live each day this week if I can, because the expansion training doors close in about a week now. A week, yes, just 8 days. So I'll just quickly tell you about that. It's a course, 9 weeks. There's 12 people only, 12 places only. Some have already gone. But it's kept a really small group so that our nervous systems can interact with each other, and I can actually have a really good look at your nervous system and can interact with you personally about your nervous system. So we look at the group nervous system and the group container, but there's also a lot of opportunity for personal reflection and response and interaction on the nervous system level. It's on Thursday mornings, Australian time, and I do actually make it it's actually a live training so that our nervous systems can interact in real time, because nervous systems talk to each other, as I've just said, and my nervous system can actually, I've trained my nervous system to be able to talk to yours in a way that will actually facilitate more safety, more ability for you to be able to then expand. All right, so if we're actually doing it in real time, it's more effective. And doing it as a group is even more effective, which is why I've set it up as a group program. It's not just an excuse to scale. This is actually because I've seen the effects of working as a group on the collective trauma that we may all be holding and shouldering at this point of time. You know, even if you think you don't have trauma, I have a lot of clients who know that they've got little things in the way that will stop them from exponentially expanding. We're talking about people who are already really successful in their business, but are launching a bigger course than before, or servicing more clients than before, or taking on a larger membership. And so they know that there's stuff stuck in their way of, oh yeah, I left some part of my energy behind when I kind of like left my, you know, ex-partner. We just didn't kind of close stuff off in a way. It's not like that stuff is stopping them from living their life, but it is actually a little part of themselves that's actually hooked into the past. And what we could do is track that in the nervous system and help that release so there's more space. That's the point of it. Okay. So if you'd like to know some more about the expansion training, it's a week more before the doors close, and we start on the 27th of February. And it's a 9-week course, and it really is my most precious offering to you, and I would love for you to join. And if you'd like to get in touch with me and find out some more about it, I can do that, and I'll also put a link in the comments below if you want to actually go straight and find some more about it without being in contact with me at first. All right, and if anybody's got any questions at all, or any topics that you'd like me to talk about on my lives this week, then that would be fantastic. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll try and respond to them. Okay. All right, we have a happy Sunday, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.